Welcome everyone, it's time for more The Life and Suffering of Sirbrante, where last time I made it out of chapter 4. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I managed to sentence Otton according to the court of law, so I avoided true death and having to replay chapter 4, so that's a good thing. But as a recap of what has happened, the family has fallen apart, we've been branded by dishonor, we have of course gotten those, but also my occupation is in the bottom. So yeah, that's... It's not good as we move into the Revolt, but I feel good at least at standing by the commoners in this. That is a nice thing indeed. So, with that said, we're moving into chapter 5, the final chapter, and by the looks of it, not that many years will be played here. I think at the most 4 years, but, you know, it's a bit relative, that time scale, so I don't really know. We shall see exactly how many events happen if I can stay out of dying, because after all, I am still at 3 deaths. Only have 1 more until I die for real. I don't know how many times I'll accept a death and sort of replay. It would be nice to get to the end of the game though, or the end of this period in time, but we will see exactly how I do it. Alright then, let's move on.
At last, the day has come which would decide my fate, as well as that of my family, and perhaps the entire empire. The day of the Revolt.
The Revolt begins. Now, I said the day. Well, okay, you know what? I was about to say, ooh, is it only 1 year? But no, he said the day, so obviously it's more than a day that we're gonna play out here. Word about the sentence you passed upon the Arcanian commander instantly spreads throughout Anizotte. The commoners are celebrating. For the first time, the law has proven to be more powerful than the ancient authority of the Arcanians. All over the city, triumphant crowds are assembling. The people praise Judge Brante and declare an end to the repression. The outcry becomes more daring by the hour. Freedom from tyranny, down with the noble joke. The authorities anxiously observe the people's reverie. Alborn receives orders from the magistrate to disperse the crowds with gendarmes, but refuses to do so on the grounds that the people are unarmed and assembling peacefully. Elverman is livid. The animosity among the ruling circles is quickly transforming into naked enmity. Humiliated, Otton refuses to comply with the sentence and go into exile. And he says, or has said, the city is on the brink of a revolt. Whatever that dishonorable court may have decided, my duty is to remain in Magra and stop this maddened mob. The nobility of Anizotte eagerly gather under Otton's banners, outraged by his sentence. They assemble a militia, ready to quell the disturbances with force. The news that Otton has refused to comply with the court's sentence infuriates the common folk. The crowds in the squares become larger. Gangs of armed commoners take to the streets. Remy Elverman is already dead. Alright, bloody hell. His life taken by the verdict of the People's Court. Ooh, the People's Court. He was strangled by the mob that broke into the city hall. The Chancellor's lifeless body now hangs just outside the windows of his office for all to see. Tough times on the nobleman, yes. And there's Sophia. There is no stopping the revolt now, but you know that after Otton's trial, your name carries weight in the eyes of the commoners. How will you use their support at this crucial moment? So, would you know it, Sophia is indeed the leader of the Anizotte revolt. So, she is now gonna play, I suppose, a pretty damn big part in this chapter. Remy Elverman is very, very sadly dead. Well, I don't care, he was a horrible, horrible person. Alright then, so this is presumably the revolt then. I'm gonna assume, yes indeed. But wait, that's the revolt. Troops, nobles, clergy, common folk. Alright, yeah, that's 5 of them. So the revolt, currently at a stalemate, but with every loss, that is rebels losing, and in every positive, rebels winning, ending in bloodbath. Ooh, well, if we can possibly keep it under 8 or under 9. We don't necessarily want a bloodbath, do we? And this would be your, yeah, okay, so your influence. Currently, people trust me. This actually only goes from 0 to 3. All of these goes from 0 to 3. So the nobles actually still vaguely support me. Oh, we're gonna be... Oh, okay. Everyone sort of vaguely trusts me right now, but I imagine that many of the things that we do will sort of shift these up and down. So, alright then, let's keep going for a while. So yes, indeed, Chapter 5, The Revolt. So what do we do in this chapter then? Because we're gonna have some destinies, I assume. At dawn, for years now, Anizotte has been simmering like a cookpot over a slow flame. The powerlessness of the simple folk, unable to change the old order, has gradually given way to rage. Finally, this anger became stronger than their age-old submission to the higher state and their fear of divine retribution. This rage was the spark that lit the fire of the revolt. All of Anizotte's commoners have risen up in rebellion. Workers, artisans, merchants, beggars. They all long to break free of noble tyranny and the perpetual suffering that is their lot. The most daring among them have joined the last straw. The secret society has sent entire squads of trained soldiers out into the streets. They hand out guns and bombs to people, weapons that give them a chance to wage war on equal footing against noblemen descended from generations of warriors. But the most dangerous weapon the rebels possess is the people's court. The commoners have claimed the right to sentence their enemies to true death. The first nobles executed by the last straws this very night served as proof that these sentences are real. For the first time in the history of the Empire, the divine force of the law is in possession not only of the noblemen but also of the common estate. Among the rebels are many new believers. They are ready to take up arms to defend their faith and freedom from the lots. They are led by Leonard, the abbot of the temple by the Silver Tree. Prefect Alborn's allegiance remains unknown. The Supreme Judge has taken such pains to give the lowly estate more rights. Will he support a revolt that strives to do the same? Anizotte has recently been rocked by a series of spontaneous assemblies and protests. The mob demands equal rights for all estates and freedom from the tyranny of the nobles. The authorities must recognize the new faith and grant the commoners the right to choose their own lot. Like, who would choose to be a commoner, really? That's also kind of weird. By nightfall, the rebels had disposed of the guards and taken over the city gate. In a matter of minutes, Anizotte was under their control. It is the duty of Overseer Gaius Tempest to crush the revolt. The Arknean nobleman feared for his own position and power, so he was reluctant to punish the rebellious city, as discontent slowly grew year by year. But the ensuing uprising has left him no choice. The Overseer has announced a full-scale mobilization. In the morning, the Legion will march toward Anizotte under his command and attempt to return the city to Imperial authority with fire and sword. The expeditious arrival of the Legion is the only hope the nobles have left now that they are locked inside the city. Members of the higher estate, especially the old aristocratic families, fear the coming rampage and strive to keep order on the streets. Meanwhile, the Inquisition led by Sister Jean is trying to stop the new believers and urging people to reject the revolt. Both groups are aware that if the rest of the province follows Anizotte into rebellion and chaos, the Empire itself and the Divine Order will begin to crumble. After nightfall, the city grows quiet. Its courtyards and squares are empty. In mansions and palaces, hasty negotiations are held and schemes are concocted. In dark cellars, the revolt is being prepared and armed units are gathering. Sorry, there was a dot there. Armed units are gathering. Parishes are getting ready to defend the temples of the new faith against the Inquisition. All citizens, rich and poor, common and noble, are arming themselves. Some with ancestral swords, others with cleavers. Anizotte is preparing, waiting for the dawn. As the Legion arrives for the assault, the rebels assemble into a militia and get ready to fend off the Imperial army, but there is little unity in their camp. The leaders are already mired in a power struggle. There are also defenders of the Imperial Order within the city walls, members of the old aristocracy, soldiers of the Inquisition, priests of the old faith, commoners unwilling to defy the law and the twins decide. These people too refuse to lay down their arms. The first rays of the rising sun light up the horizon. This day will go down in history. Your entire life has led you to this moment, step by step. You have made yourself the man you are now. Your actions today could alter the course of history, but are you ready to go the distance? Is it gonna be just one day? Oh, that's interesting. What will have become of you by the time the sun... Oh, it is just one day. Oh, that's kind of cool. So, that just increased by 2 immediately, which is interesting. So it is actually, is it only one day? Lovely. Alright then, a whole bunch of stuff. The most important event that will end this chapter, only one of them will happen. So either we defeat the Legion, the Revolt needs to be at 2, troops need to like me, and the common folk need to like me. Well, the troops can be at 2, but the common folk need to be at 3. Alright, peace with the Overseer. Overseer guy established his force, accepted the demands of the Revolt. Whole bunch of stuff. I need to be leading the Revolt for this. And the Revolt needs to be at 6, troops at 1, common folk 3, clergy 2, nobles 1. And power +3 +4. Is that the province? Yes. Oh. And I'm assuming, since that says +3 +4, is there something affecting that? Possibly. The city is defended. The rebel managed to fight back the attack. I need also to be leading the revolt here. The revolt only has to be above 1, but the troops need to be at 2, and I need to have 10 willpower or more. Oof, that's difficult. The revolt is defeated. This is when the nobles and clergy like me a lot. And power, some characters there not loaded in properly. Power at -1. Or lower, I suppose. The surrender of the revolt. The rebels surrender to the mercy, and so it's back under rule of the Empire. So power needs to be even lower for that, though, which is interesting. Well, actually, wait, what was power now? Ah, never mind. No, it's not. Again, it's not more or less power. It's positive power for the commoner, negative power for the nobility. Right. So this is when indeed the nobles are quite a lot in power. But still, we have to have common folk on our side here. We need to have everyone apart from really the troops. And then we have the Anizotte massacre. The revolt led by Sophia wins at the cost of relentless massacre. The revolt at 6, and if Sophia is leading the revolt, is that the only thing that is required for that? Oh. Then we have dark times. Neither side succeeds. Chaos and disorder spread all over the Empire. Fail to achieve another outcome, and then true death. So either I die, or something. Does this mean that... Because of how the last chapter ended, I'm vaguely thinking that one of these will happen. I mean, that one will happen. Clearly it says that. If I don't get any of these, that does happen. Or I can just die, in which case I will possibly just replay. Alright then, let's continue. Events that can happen to the Brante family isn't in... We're not a Brante family anymore, we've clearly stated this, but sure. The family has stayed in the city, family has perished. All your families oh, wow, okay. I want to try to avoid that at the very least. Or we flee, or we are saved. Survives the night of the revolt, okay. The night of the revolt. I thought we were playing during the day, but okay, we'll see. So, alright, interesting. And then for my occupation, I gotta have to be leading. You succeed Sophia as the leader of the rebel. Ooh, eliminate Sophia. Oh, that's... Well, that's a bit tricky. That is a bit tricky. I can escape. You flee the violence of Anizotte. Okay. I can become the defender of the Empire. Probably not gonna be that one, though. And I take the side of the revolt, side with the revolt. I mean, it's gotta be either of these two. I'm assuming that this can happen slightly earlier than this. And it kind of feels, yeah, it kind of feels like I have to side with the revolt before actually surpassing Sophia. So we'll see about that. And indeed, revolt screen is active. Yes, indeed. Alright then. Not chosen. What do you mean, not chosen? Oh. Is that going to be an active choice then? Peaceful victory. So for the peaceful victory to be true, Revolt needs to be at 6. Commoner at 3. Clergy at 2. And then power needs to be more in power of the commoners. I mean, I've sort of just... The entire playthrough I've been sort of trying to get to this. Moving against the Empire, so... I failed to see how it could be anything but that. But how we are going to surpass Sophia, I need willpower of 10, and I think that my willpower is -5 right now. So I might have to stand out on some actions, because I know that for the most part when you don't do something, that's when you can get willpower, but not all the time. Not all the time. So, alright then, fine. Let's start this fateful day then. Oh, so, alright. Yes, it is one day. 4 quarters of the day, that is what we're playing through. Cool that they changed that. Alright then, mustering the forces. The crimson sun slowly rises above the horizon. You make your way through a city in chaos, carefully observing what is happening on the streets. The rebellion is flaring up again after a night of calm. Once again, the commoners are taken to the squares in droves. The grim resolve in the rebels' eyes speaks volumes. They are determined to seize their freedom or die trying. There are others, however, who are huddling inside their homes, locking their doors and praying to survive the revolt unscathed. With every passing minute, you see more and more people carrying banners. They bear a hand clutching a lantern, the mark of the last straw. The conspirators have left the shadows at last. They hand out guns to the common folk, using these last precious minutes to quickly teach them how to fire them. The artisans are out on the streets too, cobbling together makeshift shields out of wood and nails to protect against the nobles and their blades. Fortunately for the rebels, the nobles remain divided. The old noble bloodlines have sided with Dorius Autumn. The Archon has sworn to bring down the revolt by any means necessary. His noble militia now stands guard in the Silver District, where the city's most eminent aristocrats have their homes. They represent the greatest threat to the revolt. Many nobles of the mantle, however, are all too eager to violate their oath of fealty and side with the rebels. Though ennobled to serve the Empire, they no longer want to suffer under the boot of the highborn Archnians and human gentry. But there are many more who are still undecided. Soldiers and low-ranking officers of the Legion, from the city's garrison, officials and functionaries, they have all found themselves caught between the Overseer's order and the People's Revolt. Many of them are biding their time, hoping the Legion or the Prefecture will spring into action and quell the unrest. But the Prefecture has yet to react. The city prefect, Sir Elborn, still has not made it clear which side he is on. Even the clergy has been swept up in strife. Abbot Leonard is gathering new believers for a procession to the Silver Tree, where the people will elect a new patriarch. Old believer priests and common folk who prefer to cling to the laws and save their souls stand in opposition. Even the Inquisition, whose duty it is to protect the Church of the Twin Gods against heresy, has been tainted by the schism. The true fight for the faith of Anizotte will begin in a matter of hours. I can't help but see that I can basically do nothing. You have had 8 years to curry influence among the people of the city. It is time to put your connection to the test. Who can you sway to your side? Who will be willing to sacrifice their lives and fight for your cause? So the only thing I can really do, because I took the path of the nobleman... Oh, actually, you know what? Yes, I see. Path of the Lotless, path of the priest... Path of the Lotless, Path of the Priest. Okay, so I understand why I can't do 4 of these, but I can't do this one because I wasn't a noble by the sword. So you know what, it's a lot of grey, but it's fine. So what I can do is, because Thomas has a new life, and I'm not the defender of the Empire, there are officers and soldiers in the Legion garrison in the city. They are all but ready to fight for the revolt. I mean, that is gonna be pretty good, right? I can bide my time. And that might actually give me some willpower. Yeah, okay. As this is not necessarily a direct choice just yet. I mean, I need willpower. I need to surpass Sophia. That's kind of where I'm going for. This will be a long day indeed. It will take all your wits and composure to do what must be done. You spend these last few hours of quite biding your time and mustering your strength. You keep your ear to the ground and plan your next move. The timing for this respite rest could not have been more perfect. The storm is yet to come. Both the defenders of the Imperial regime and the rebels need time to gather their forces for the pivotal clash. Gaius Tempest and the Legion will not arrive in Anizotte until nightfall. Only then will the fate of the revolt be decided in the ultimate struggle. The Legion is already on the march toward the rebellious city. What can the rebels do to oppose it? Everything depends on how the conflicts of the day play out before the sun sets. The prefecture and the gendarmes, will they pursue the rebels or take their side? Leonard's possession of new believers to the Silver Tree. Will the people elect their first patriarch? The disjointed groups of insurgents, will they be able to unite? And if so, who will unite them? Your thoughts are interrupted. The sound of gunfire fills the city streets again. The lull is over. You can wait no longer. But there we go. So I'm at +5, which is good, but I need to be at +10 to be able to do anything. With Sophia, that is. Okay. So there we go. Because I took the path of the nobleman, I do get something. A fading light. Alright, the sun rises higher and higher. Your carriage is hurtling down the street, making its way through the crowd with great difficulty. Many barricades have appeared overnight, made of old boards and rotten trash. Lovely. You have to reach the prefecture as soon as you can. The gendarmes and judges' reaction to the revolt could be decided at any moment. Any word from Sir Elborn? No, even the slightest sign from him could determine their allegiance. The Silver District is empty now, populated only by a searing wind, sweeping light debris across the cobblestones. You smell smoke. A noble house must have been set on fire nearby. You hear hooves clattering in the distance. There is not a soul around. All you can hear is a fountain burbling in a small square, mixed with gentle, melodic laughter. Laughter, even. You yell for the carriage to stop. Those graceful... Oh, bloody hell, it's Octavia. Oh, Jesus. Those graceful movements, that clothing so light and airy, that thin, slender figure, playing and splashing in the water, the rays of the sun dancing glitter on its golden skin. That hot, carefree day flashes before your eyes. The sound of the carriage on the cobblestones, the handkerchief dropped on the ground. Does Octavia still remember how you first met? This creature, does it still have anything in common with the prideful Arcane lady you met here all those years ago? And by the way, didn't I actually grab that handkerchief? I never really did anything with it. The creature that was once Octavia is laughing, as though she cannot see the ruined streets around her. You come closer. You feel a strange, involuntary sense of calm next to this bizarre creature. There can be no hatred in her presence, no pain, no suffering. She raises her large, pitch-black eyes to you. Her voice rings with genuine elation. And I love the fact that she's ex-Octavia. Do you see it all crumbling now? She says. It's the old world dying, collapsing under its own weight. Do not fear it. It's not a bad thing. This is how it has to be. You live in the dream of the one called Octavia Milanides, human who bears the name of Brante. This dream will end soon, and then it will all be gone. Your empire, your estates, your lots, your shining pillar, and you, human named Brante, will be gone too. And the great mind of the Latari will leave this dream and move on, beyond all borders, beyond all limits. What great joy that moment will bring us. The creature that was once Octavia stretches her thin arms towards the horizon, where smoke already wafts against the backdrop of the sky. The screams of the rioting crowd are drawing closer. This being is not of this world, and is utterly helpless, especially here in Anizotte in the middle of a rebellion. The fate of the woman you knew as Octavia Milanides is in your hands now. Well, I can't do anything. I can't... I don't have a spiritual... Wait, didn't I have a spiritual bond with her? Hold on. Ex-Octavia, what are we? And you are here still, yes. We have a spiritual... Wait. Hey! Game. I clearly have a spiritual bond. I can't... What? I do have a spiritual bond with her. Well, that's annoying. And if... Ooh, if Dorius Otton likes me, which he possibly can do if he hadn't sort of gone for him, so to speak. All right, that's a thing. And what? Oh, no, bloody hell! I didn't see the crossover, the equal sign there. Sorry. So really, none of this is related to me at all. So, well, we're just gonna have to part ways with her. Quite sad in some ways. Her large pitch black eyes are watching you, but you remain silent. Whatever connection you had to Octavia Melanides, it is gone now. The fate of this bizarre creature is none of your concern. She can follow her own inscrutable path on her own. The creature that was once Octavia hangs her head in sorrow. The saddest thing about the death of this world, human named Chris Brandt, is that you are so tightly bound to it. You will burn along with it. We will mourn you as you fade away. Goodbye forever. The thin, slender, ethereal figure hops from the edge of the fountain and onto the cobblestones. She turns her back to you and walks away down an empty street. The eerie calm she emanates remains with you for a while, but soon dissipates. Only the acrid smell of smoke remains. You shake your head and wrench yourself back to reality. Elborn, the prefecture, you need to hurry. So apparently she has escaped the world. After becoming Atari, Octavia left the world without a trace. Can I get some willpower from that? No, sadly, no willpower from me. Alright then, so still more stuff. That's kind of weird that that happened because I chose the path of the nobleman. But I also suppose that if I didn't choose the path of the nobleman, I wouldn't have really come into contact with her as such. That could possibly have been the thing. So, Sir Elborn's choice. What is it that you are going to do? Have you changed your mind, possibly? It is noon. A large crowd has gathered in the prefecture square. The gendarmes form a line in front of the stairs, clutching their cudgels nervously. The commoners keep coming. The mob keeps growing. They call out to the windows of the prefecture. Their screams are deafening. Elborn sides with the people. Gendarmes, judges, join us. The people need you. It's now or never. The rebelling citizens demand that the prefect take a side. This decision must not be made without you. You have to get inside. You push your way through the dense crowd until you reach the gendarmes. And there's Captain Leonard. Hey, guy. Oh, Sir Brante, I thought you'd been captured. Men, let the judge through. Tell the judges to make up their minds. The people haven't attacked us yet, but you never know. The main hall of the prefecture is stuffy and crowded. The din of voices is as loud here as outside. Almost every judge in the province is here now, save for those who stayed home or fled the city in advance. Most of them demand that the prefect disperse the crowd. Augustine Elborn is on the podium in the courtroom, looming above the indignant judges. And he says, "No, I will not sic the gendarmes on the people. It is the prefecture's duty to listen to the emperor's subjects, not force them to be silent. If we disperse this crowd, it will only fan the flames." And Carlo goes, "And what are the overseer's orders, Sir Prefect? We have to quash the revolt while we still can. Tell the gendarmes to do their duty and protect the city from these riots. Or do you want this so-called people's court to hang us all? Have you forgotten about the last straw and that freak Sophia? They're executing people left and right as though they're wielding the divine law. Do you really think you'll be spared?" The judges applaud for grabbing, even those you believe to be the prefect's most ardent supporters. And Augustine answers, "This arrest needs to be quelled with words, not clubs. If we turn this demonstration into a bloodbath, there will be no stopping the carnage." Elborn tries to respond, but cries of outrage drown out his words. The prefect frowns in consternation. The wrinkles on his forehead grow deeper. He casts another glance around the courtroom and notices you standing in the doorway. I can't do anything. So what is it that I don't have? Yeah, he kind of hates me because I did that separate thing. Not a separate thing. I changed my mind in that court case, so therefore that's not now a thing that I can do, which is very sad. Again, he doesn't like me and my reputation is shot to hell. And diplomacy, which I have not been able to increase, which is quite sad. But we've also been branded by dishonor, so you know, all of this is just not gonna happen. So he's on his own on this one, which is kind of sad again. So yeah, it kind of feels like a lot of the choices that I made during chapter 4 really is coming to bite me in the ass now in this chapter, which is, I mean, it is how it is. that's how this game and games like this work. You kind of have to stick with your choices, man. Alright then, you look away from Melbourne. What? I didn't have to look away. This decision falls on the prefect and the rest of the judges. You are staying out of this. The judges and the prefect are just going around in circles. They make the same arguments over and over again. Even the stateless judges are shouting now. Finally, Elborn loses his patience and pounds the top of the podium with his fist. I am still the prefect of Magra. The gendarmes will not attack the people. This is my final decision. Now please, good judges, quit your bickering and do your jobs. The courtroom falls silent. And Fokker grab and goes, Elborn, Elborn, you have the power to uphold law and order in Anizotte, but you're afraid of your own power. Afraid to give a single simple order. You're a coward. He just clearly gave an order, but sure. When do you? Elborn's face grows red. He leaps from behind the podium. Captain Linnet suddenly barges into the courtroom. The sounds of screams and clattering hooves fill the room. And he says, the riders are coming. It's Arton and his noble militia. Well, it is moving up the revolt. And there we go. There's my 10 willpower. Perfect. So now I just have to join the rebels. Oh, am I actually gonna be done? You know what? I'll see how far I've played when we move into the final segment, because it might be that this is actually the final episode. I didn't even think about that. We'll see. The prefecture under siege. The searing sun looms high in the sky above the rebellious city. The square in front of the prefecture is packed with commoners. Just a moment ago, they boldly demanded that the judges and gendarmes side with the rebellion, but now they are terrified. They fear the noble army that is coming for them. Their calls for rebellion are gone, replaced by frightened screams. Hooves thunder against the cobblestones. The earth quakes beneath their feet. The noble militia, led by Doris Audon, carves a path through the human sea. The terrified rebels scatter as the riders approach. I do wonder, is Sophia gonna make herself known here, possibly? The gendarmes remain where they are, forming a tight circle around the prefecture and Elborn. The prefect calls out to the crowd, his voice hoarse. He says, everyone stay calm, let them through, do not draw your weapons. Alton's riders push the mob aside and eventually reach the tall building. The Arcanian commander draws in his reins only when the gendarmes are all that separate him from the prefecture stairs. And he says, Prefect Elborn, how dare you disobey the orders of the province's rightful rulers? You have abused your position to appease the rebels and defy imperial rule. This inconceivable rebellion is your fault. It's kind of my fault, but sure. It's time for you to accept your well-earned punishment. In the name of Archduke Menenides, I hereby order you and your gendarmes to surrender your weapons. The supreme judge of the prefecture maintains his composure in the face of this recrimination. And he says, I only obey the laws of the Empire, Sir Alton, not you or your runaway Archduke. Alton's face contorts in a predatory grin. Excellent, he says. You've had your chance to save face, old man. Instead of a dignified execution, you and your cronies will hang, like the foul rabble you betrayed us for. Alton lifts his sword skyward, prepared to order an assault. The riders behind him are about to attack. The gendarmes ready their clubs. Their hands are trembling. They will not stand a chance against the noble cavalry. The mob begins to shift, about to flee the square. The fate of this moment hangs by a thread, and I can actually stay out of it again. I can overthrow Elborn. No, I was about to say, help Audon bring the prefect. No. I can actually try to do this. Audon has been stripped of his rank. You reason with the nobles and convince them to abandon their leader. And that is obviously something I can do because I sentenced him as well. And rouse the mob and encourage them to defend the prefect. Ooh. Alright. So, if I want to... I mean, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to go for either of these. Common folk need to be a 2 or 3. Peace with the Overseer. That feels like it's going to take willpower, though. That doesn't feel like it's going to get willpower. Or use willpower. I mean, that's funny, but this is related to what I did in Chapter 4. I sentenced him. I don't have the diplomacy, but the nobles still like me, so apparently that is enough. So the one thing is actually interesting here, which I haven't really thought about. I did think about it after the last episode, which is that it basically says... where did I see that? I saw something. Which one did I see it? Basically, I think I read somewhere that it sort of decides the outcome of your actions. So, for example, if I do this one, since my diplomacy is not high enough, could I get different results of this? Like, if I would have had diplomacy over 16, or let's say diplomacy of 18 or something like that, would I have been able to get a different outcome than whatever it is that I get now? Or is it a coin toss, or is it something other? I don't exactly know how that works. But you know what? Again, since this is related to what I did in the end of chapter 4, I want to go for this one. Let's see if I can get the nobles on my side. To everyone's surprise, you walk confidently through the ranks of the gendarmes. The riders notice your raised armor rein in their horses. The noblemen know who you are. You begin to speak, not to Auden, but to the militia. By the verdict of the imperial court, Otten has been stripped of his rank in disgrace. He no longer has any right to command the militia. The law of the Empire has spoken. Why are they defying it? Flabbergasted at your audacity, Auden makes his horse prance, a menacing sight. Don't go for me and kill me. Oh no. Once a filthy commoner, always a filthy commoner. Eh, Brante? Your preposterous verdicts mean nothing to true noblemen, and they never will. You only grin at his words. True noblemen are free to make up their own minds. Auden is not their master. The riders grip their reins, hesitating. You speak to them again. Soon, the city of Anizotte will have a new order and new laws. There is no stopping it. Why follow a criminal and a fool who doesn't give a damn about their future? The revolt is about to prevail, and when it does, all who oppose it will hang. But those who accept the new order and fight for it will be pardoned. You swear on your noble honor. And Augustine goes, I vouch for the words of Judge Brante as the prefect of Magra. Surrender to us, good sirs, and your lives will be spared. Judge Dorius goes, shut your traitorous mouth, follow me, men, cut these rebels down. Oh, that's not me, that's good. The proud Archon lifts his sword skyward and rushes at the gendarmes. Not one cavalryman follows him. Auden smashes into the gendarmes alone. He slices left and right with desperation so fierce, it almost seems as though he might be able to break through the gendarmes' defenses single-handed. But not even his skill as a swordsman is enough to oppose a company of trained men. In the end, Auden finds himself knocked from his saddle and shackled. And he says, cowards, turncoats, you're begging for mercy from this pitiful rabble. You'll die in dishonor and suffer forever at the foot of the pillar. That's not up to you to decide though, dude. But the noble militia has already made its decision. Their commander has been disgraced and their morale has crumbled. The riders surrender their arms. Auden will not receive the same mercy. Augustine goes, after his prior crimes, Doris Auden has committed new offenses against the subject of the Empire. His final trial awaits. The prefect turns to you. Judge Brante, you are familiar with Sir Auden's crimes. What is your verdict? Pronounce your sentence. Auden is hereby sentenced to death by hanging. I didn't even get to choose that. Let the people of Anizotte see that there is one law for all. The mob around you explodes with elation at your words. Auden is stunned, shocked, unable to believe what is happening. He does not even struggle when the gendarmes throw the noose around his neck. The final realization dawns on the Archon nobleman at the very last moment. For the first time, terror flashes in his eyes. Brante is this final word. His neck snaps with a sickening crunch. Doris Auden falls silent. Forever. Cries of victory fill the square. You have executed not just an enemy of the revolt, but an Arcanon and the former High Commander of Magra. Your verdict inspires the people with a sense of solidarity. In the blink of an eye, they arm themselves with wooden clubs, heavy sticks, and makeshift spears. The most audacious among them awkwardly try on the noble surrendered swords. The common people form squads and choose you as their commander. But it is far too early to celebrate. You have only fought off one assault. Prefect Alborn finds you in the boisterous crowd. When he says, Chris, Your courage has saved the prefecture. I'm with you until the end. Whatever you need from me, you will have it. We need to hurry now. The noble militia we've seen in the city pales in comparison to the forces of the Legion. I'll gather our forces at the prefecture and establish a unified command structure. You should find Abbot Leonard and aid him in any way you can. His procession must be en route to the Silver Tree by now. The enemies of the new faith are waiting there, weapons in hand. They'll massacre each other if we don't stop them, Brante. The city is a power keg with a short fuse. More fire and blood is the last thing we need. What we need is more allies, and having Leonard on our side is crucial. We need a spiritual leader who can unite the city against the Legion. You nod to Wellborn, the fate of the feud between the two faiths hanging by the clash at the Silver Tree. You have to be there. You wish the prefect best of luck with his work. Then muster your loyal forces and head for the temple. And sadly, well, not so sadly, Dorius Audon is dead. And what do we have? Ooh, yeah, that turned him into a rebel, and presumably power struggle sort of goes in favor of the commoners. Order actually goes up, which is a bit fascinating. The revolt is now at 6, which is one of the requisites. Troops like me, nobles like me, common folk like me. That was a very good decision to do that, yes. So for this, I only now actually need to be leading the revolt. I'm done with that. Here we do need power to be a little bit higher and clergy to like me. So in the next event, possibly then, who am I gonna get? Good, good. No, oh, here we go. The rebel, yes, this is quite clearly me taking the side of the revolt. But yeah, okay, after this, I suppose, we're gonna have a chance to side with the clergy. And I think that going with the new faith makes the most sense. It would be kind of weird to side with the old faith. Alright then, why is this... Okay, so what is the game telling me here now? Ah, right, okay, so for a rebel, I can either go for the peaceful victory or the military victory. In order to go for the peaceful victory, not only do I have to eliminate Sophia, but I also need the clergy to be a lot more on my side. Well, actually, not a lot more. I am 2 right now, aren't I? No, I'm still at 1 on the clergy, yes. It was these that went up. And power needs to be even more in with the commoners. I think it's the reason why it says +3, +4 is because that's the span of where it needs to be, I suppose. I really, really hope that the game is gonna allow me to be able to surpass Sophia. I really hope so. Right then. Oh, that was actually, yes, that was only the fact that I have indeed joined the rebel cause. So that is now done. Good, good, good. And most likely I definitely needed that to be leading the revolt. Alright then, we'll do this one as well. I realized that this might not be the final episode. I think I'll do this one and then call it and say that the next episode after that is the final one. We'll see. An enormous sea of humanity flows through Anizotte, filling the streets of the temple district. They are led by Abbot Leonard. The new believers walk peacefully behind him, many of them women and the elderly. They are unarmed. Their faces show neither fear nor anger. They are so drastically unlike the throngs of rebels who are currently ransacking streets and looting noble houses. The procession slowly makes its way toward the temple at the Silver Tree. The temple has always been where patriarchs of the church accept their sacred duty, along with the heavy burden and responsibility for the flock before the twin gods. When a patriarch speaks, the twins pay heed, and every 8 years it falls upon the patriarch to proclaim in their sight how their world is humbly following the lot as it has been given. Long after the twins descended to our world, the patriarchs came to be elected at the conclave by the clergy. This tradition has continued for many years. Today, dozens of priests have come to the temple in spite of the unrest to conduct the rite and spare the twins' world from their wrath. But now thousands of commoners are walking to the same temple to elect a new patriarch themselves. You and your followers take a side street to the temple, avoiding the immense procession. Soon, the square by the tree is packed, teeming overwhelmed. But the stairs to the temple doors cannot be reached. A stalwart phalanx of champions of faith blocks the way, with Jean in the lead. They are joined by the Inquisitors, those who have decided to walk the path of the old faith until the very end. And Jean says, I will not allow you into the temple, Leonard. These heretics will not make you patriarch. Father Leonard slowly begins to ascend the stairs. He does not argue with Jean. The abbot simply faces her with a humble smile and gestures at the people standing behind him. Doubt clouds the champions' faces. Leonard's position is truly staggering, even if they are mere commoners, even if they are unarmed and empty-handed. There are simply too many of them to be stopped by a few dozen old believers. And Father Leonard says, Sister Jean, look at them. Are they truly heretics? All of them. They are just people, our brothers and sisters in faith. Why would the Inquisition treat us like enemies? We do not reject the twin gods. Nay, we seek them with our every thought. And Jean says, you rejected the law of the younger when you chose to seek your own lots. And Father answers, no, Jean, the only thing we reject is Isacius' error. To which Jean replies, this argument has been going on for years, Leonard. I know each and every point you can make. Don't even bother. You will not enter the temple. And all of these people, you're just dragging them down to the foot of the pillar along with you. How can you still not understand this after so many years? What do you think you're doing, Leonard? Don't you fear the wrath of the gods? I do not, Jean, he answers. When I become patriarch, I will tell the twins that we still love and revere them just as we always have, even as we seek a different path to them. The twins will hear us, they will listen, they will understand. There will be no wrath of the gods. The new believers heed Leonard's words. They begin to firmly ascend the stairs to the door of the temple. The champions' swords do not deter them. Jean watches the massive congregation approach her eyes filled with remorse. She raises an arm, about to give her final order. Champions of faith, protect the sacred temple, fight to the bitter end. You reach the foot of the stairs as she speaks these words. This is your last chance to intervene. I should obviously do this. But I will be sacrificing some willpower to do it. But wait, okay, so what's the thing here? I mean, all of the stuff at the bottom, I mean, this is just not for me. Cassius overthrown. Yeah. Cassius overthrown, isn't that Tempest? Wait. Who's that? Cassius? No, that's Gaius. See, that's even a character I don't even know about, so no, that's not a thing for me. Jean Righteous, yeah, we are not related at all. And I'm a rebel. Fend them off, the champions of faith. So, oh, alright. Fend the people off with the champions of faith. Oh, but this one... Doesn't this feel like one of those situations where I can actually die? Because it kind of does. Kind of does feel like that is one of the situations where I can die. Even though I should be better at Jean at fighting, that feels like I could die, and I do not want to die, so... And I mean, I'm not a faithful person. I know what Elborn said. I do need to have them on my side, but... I shouldn't think that is gonna affect me negatively directly if I don't do anything right now. It's just gonna be a net zero for me, hopefully. And from what it looks like, yeah, the priests are gonna sort of get a few kills, I suppose. I like that I can order the priests to attack. Jean, doomed for her sin. Oh, I do want to play a religious playthrough. Have a bit of fun with Jean. I'm just gonna walk away. I know that's a bit of a boring choice, but I'm more focused on Sophia than the priesthood. So I'm walking away. There can never be peace between the Inquisition and the New Believers. Sister Jean is right. The dispute between them has been going on for years, and neither side will ever yield to the other. You have nothing to gain here, and everything to lose. You gesture to your followers hurriedly, fall back. You watch Jean from a safe distance. No longer able to bear the tension, she orders her warriors to attack. In the name of the younger, go forth! Drive them from this square. The champions of faith obey Jean's order. They get into formation and begin advancing on the new believers, weapons in hand. The unarmed mob recoils in fear, but those in the front row are pushed from behind and driven onto the blades. Blood splatters onto the stairs of the sacred temple. A woman's voice lets out a shrill scream. Panic spreads through the mob like wildfire. Chaos fills the minds of women and men. They begin pushing, pulling, dashing, recoiling like frightened animals. And the warriors of the church keep advancing, unrelenting and lethal. A mighty gust of wind rushes over the square. It roars, howls, almost screams, filled with remorse, agony, and wrath. Oh, is this the wrath of the gods by any chance? The earth oh, bloody hell, I should have done something. The earth begins to tremble beneath your feet, before your very eyes, as though in some terrible nightmare. The roof of the sacred temple begins to shake, and the pillars start to sway back and forth. No, says Jean. Father says, by the twins, what is happening? The street jerks beneath you, buckling slightly. Some of your men struggle to remain on their feet, but you cannot look away from the square and the terrifying sight unfolding there, as people try in vain to escape the divine reckoning. After a few minutes, silence falls. Where the temple at the silver tree once stood, there is nothing. The grand, majestic structure is no more. It has been leveled to the ground. Remnants of its walls and roof are strewn across the square like building blocks scattered by a massive hand. The stairs that once led to it have been ground into gravel. A cloud of dust slowly settles upon the square. After the dust come the leaves. Thousands and thousands of leaves shed by the silver tree. They cover the corpses of the truly dead like a pale white shroud. The entire square glows as the bodies of those yet to be reborn dissolve into nothingness. There are so many that the light stings your eyes, even though the thick dust that still hangs over it all. Just how many people met their deaths today? You do not see another living soul in the square. Neither Leonard nor Jean survived the temple's collapse. The two irreconcilable, I think that's how you pronounce it, enemies were both buried in the rubble. The wrath of the gods knows no mercy. What is done. There is no changing it. You begin mustering your forces and prepare to move to Empire Square. Enormous crowds of people are already on their way there, about to choose the leader of the Anizotte rebellion. The sun slowly begins to set. I think it's a tough choice in some ways, but reading that, yeah, kind of feels like I'm gonna have a clash with Sophia, and I'm gonna need my bloody willpower. So apparently you encountered true death. Did you too? Jean perished in a collapse. Never. Oh, you actually had a true death then. Order, bloody hell. Oh, that's not good. The rebels are now winning, though. I got more willpower, so now I have a bit spare. I would have liked like 10 of it. Alright then. So I'm gonna assume that we're not gonna have like an event now, but just regular. Yeah, okay. So there we go. I'm gonna end the episode here. We are moving into the final bits of this game. Next episode is the last episode. A bit sad. I have enjoyed playing this, I'm not gonna lie. But yes, indeed, we are going to be electing a new rebel leader, and it's gonna be me. I really hope I can. I don't know if I can, but it's looking pretty good, I will say, because we go down here, leading Revolt, I had to eliminate Sophia, and wasn't there a second thing about that? Is anything gonna happen with the family? I'm gonna assume that because in chapter 4 the family fell apart. None of this is gonna happen because we're literally not a family anymore. I'm gonna assume that anyway. But in order to eliminate Sophia, where was the surrender, evolve, legion? Didn't I have like a specific? From where did I get that I needed willpower for that? I need willpower here. I suppose that if I can manage to get Sophia down, I'm currently actually in position to defend the city. It would be nice, to some degree, I suppose, to make peace. That would be the best outcome. But can I get the? I mean, presumably I should have spent some willpower most likely to make peace to get the clergy on track, but then I possibly would not have been able to demote Sophia. I'm just gonna assume that that's the case. So in the next episode we're starting with choosing the rebel leader. Let's hope it's me. We'll see about that though. We're going to see the end of the Revolt and in fact the end of the game. For now though, this has been ghostmutgaming with me, Christopher. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.